Yeah. Alrighty. Hi, you guys. I know you guys are seeing this light, and this is the light that I use to take the picture for the thumbnail. Um, the reason why I did that is actually let me turn down the volume. It's actually a speaker that I got from Bed Bath and Beyond, and it has a little timer and tells the time and everything on there. But what gets me is that the lights, it comes with different lights and it lights up very different colors. But although it changed to many colors, it always returns back to the beginning color of a red. So as you can see, it'll start off as different colors and it end up with red. And it made me think about some of the things that I went through and how after going through this process, it showed me the importance. After going through this process, it showed me the importance of trying again and the importance of the process, period. Sometimes we want things to happen so quickly. And sometimes, uh, if you see in the media, you see a lot of people, it seems like they're achieving things faster and quicker than you. One of the things I was struggling with, I was like, I'm doing the right things, God. Like, why haven't I gotten to this point? And you're telling me I'm getting there, but I haven't seen it yet. When am I going to get there? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm being impatient, which I really was. Um, and I still deal with that. But um, God showed me afterwards that I needed to go through the process to understand uh, the meaning of success. My point to this is sometimes you have to lose to win again. Um, there is a lady named Jaguar Wright, and a lot of people are talking about her because of some of the issues that she deals with mentally. She has a mental illness, and you can definitely see it. But also, because of her mental illness, a lot of people try to cast down what she is saying. But a lot of the things she said was true, especially when she talked about winning and wealth. And she said, notice how you become wealthy when you're homeless. And she started talking about that. And I was like, oh my goodness. I didn't even understand uh, wealth until I actually went through this whole process. I didn't understand what success was until I went through the process. When you look at success, you look at the outside people and you see people with cars, you see them able to support their families, you see them, or it looks like they're supporting their families because they have all these luxurious things. But sometimes success is freedom of speech, freedom to say what you need to say and to say what is true without being retaliated, without feeling like you have to look over your shoulder for someone to take you out. Sometimes freedom is being able to say no to someone without them attacking you, or you losing your job, or you losing your place of residence. Not being fearful anymore. Some we look at it on the outside lens because people have so many things in their hands or so many things to show for it. It looks like to show for it, and it's all material, but they can't voice their opinion. They're stuck in between a rock and a hard place. They have these negotiations that are keeping them bound from not exposing what the truth is. You know, and when you have nothing, or you have nothing that is controlling you, you're able to be your authentic self. Not to say if you don't have things, you can't be true to yourself. That's not it. Um, but there's a way to do that. Going through this process, when I went through the most humiliation of my life, I learned that God still supplied for me. um everything that I thought that I needed that title for, or that I needed to get, I needed to do in order to make things better. I saw that I could actually do that on my own without without public validation. Excuse me, without public validation. I think that's what God is trying to get everybody back to, not for people to see and to show. Because when you really go through a process and you really find out what success is, it's what happens. What do you do when people are not looking? How do you react to yourself when people are not looking? Sorry. Sometimes we're really good to ourselves when people are looking, but we don't pat ourselves on the back and tell us that, we did a good job when we're doing a good job. Sometimes that was one thing I had to deal with. Another thing that we sometimes do is not telling ourselves that it's okay when we mess up to get back up. We are human. Don't be so hard on yourself. Um, truth be told, some of those people who you're looking up to had those same struggles, if not even more, still struggling with them. Just keep going. Don't give up. Um, and I would have never experienced that, never known that if I would have stopped, if I would have lost, if I would have never went through the losing process, being rejected, being ostracized, I would have never had that freedom. And I didn't, when you get rejected, people are not looking at you, they're casting you aside, right? But during that time, you have time to work on yourself. You have time to work on yourself, get your mind and your thoughts clear, and you can regroup because you know that you tried it one way and it didn't work. So now you know from that, from what you learned that did work and didn't work from your failure, you take the things that did work and you try to enhance on those. And the things that didn't work, you keep them in mind, but you put them off to the side and say you no longer using that because it's not working. One thing that I had to put aside is to not take things personally when family, friends, and loved ones that are close to you don't walk into the will in the way that God is trying to get you into. You know, everybody has, excuse me, y'all. I have sinuses and my allergies are killing. But everyone has a path. And sometimes what God is calling you to do is not something that He's calling someone else to do. Or it might be something that is calling someone else to do, but they're not on your level yet. Maybe they've surpassed you. Maybe they haven't surpassed you. But those were some of the things that excuse me. Sorry, you guys, allergies. Those are some of the things that I learned through losing, through failing, through um going through things. If you guys see that little freaking blanket on the back, I had to cover it because my TV will record and it's still recording. I should unplug it. Yeah, plug it. Okay. So it will record and it'll say crazy stuff. Like one time I came in with my uniform on from work, and this was like a while ago, and it just started playing a commercial from the doggone company that I worked for. Another thing, it was like my dog was at home and my dog watches television. Trying to watch it now. And when I came in, it was like leaving your dog home alone all day. And it was like, what the heck? So I don't try to get that thing access. We already have enough electronics doing all that. But anyhow, that's not what this is about. Um, I learned about how to lose gracefully, Um, society doesn't tell you how to lose gracefully. They don't tell you how to lose gracefully. Um, they tell you how to be a fake humble, but they don't tell you what it means to lose gracefully. And when you go through that process, because that's a process within itself, and not take as rejection, um, you get a lot of gifts from that. You work on yourself. You look at what was successful for other people in that arena, and not only that, you get in tune with yourself. You listen to God, and you get a new navigation. It's like a new GPS based off of the road that was closed. Think about a GPS, and they tell you to go one way, and the navigation system takes you to a road that is closed. That's exactly what that means. Now you got to get rerouted. So, yeah, that was That's what I learned, and I guess it's true. Sometimes you really do have to lose to win again. Had I not lost, had I not went through the instances and the things that I went through, I wouldn't have what I have right now. And it's better than what I was trying to hold on to that wasn't working for me. You know? So I think of that even as a process of losing to win again. I had to leave what I was comfortable in having in order to start over and to get something new and better. Think about the Egyptians. When I said Egyptians, when the Hebrews were in Israel, in Egypt's land, and they were going out into the wilderness. Well, the wilderness looked like it was a bad place because they didn't have all the luxuries and the goods that they had, even though God took them and gave them wealth because they had all of their jewelry, all of their things when they left. It didn't look that way. It didn't look that way. But when Caleb and Jacob got into the promised land, because the rest of the people didn't believe, and they still had the backsliding mindset. They had the old way mindset, and they didn't want to renew their mind and change and believe that they were conquerors. When Caleb and Jacob got in that land, they were able to prosper, and they had more than what they had before they were in Egypt's land, and they were free. They were free. They weren't under bondage anymore. So that's the same thing that I've experienced and I'm understanding. Sometimes you have to let go. With me, sometimes you have to let go of a job, that is not serving you. For me, I was at a couple of jobs that just they would not want to pay me for what I was worth, give someone else more. Not only that, they would try to get all my ideas, try to force me to work over and then give someone else the credit, work under them. They knew that I was doing all the work. Still didn't want to pay me the right amount. Still didn't want to treat me the right way, And I still was staying prayerful. But God had to remove me out of that relationship, that worker relationship, because He is in control. Doesn't mean that you have to go and be violent or anything, but He removed me from that situation to where He can better use me, and that training that I had, which I thought I was losing, was all the knowledge that I gained that I was able to use in the next assignment that He had for me. Okay. Another example about that is when I went for the pageant, and I was talking about dealing with the homeless, and I had my first experience being homeless, and how this one lady had, signed me up for these classes and all this crazy stuff, which I wasn't even supposed to be signed up for. I was just supposed to be helping her, and it was dealing with addictions and everything. And I never had any drug addictions, anything like that. But because I went through those classes, it gave me, when I was able to end up going into the job that I currently have and the current job that I've been working in for a minute, I wouldn't have been able to get that job or attain that job had I not went through those classes and went through the training that, that she put me through. Even though it was for her, she did that for her, but what the enemy meant for evil, God will turn it for your good. So for His good, yeah, it worked out, and I felt like, okay, I had this, this is going to look like I've just been doing this. And, sometimes you got to lose to win again, starting over, not leaving all my, clothes and my things. I used to think about that, my clothes, even my hair, like, hair bags and all that. Cause I will say I put a lot of work into anything that I'm focusing that I want to be a part of. If I'm connected to someone, this is why I don't, even though I'm connected to a lot of people, but to be intensely, like the circle that I'm around, I'm very intense because I try to strive with a level of excellency in my friendships and things that are very near and dear to me. I try to put a lot of work into it. So Even with me going out, people will say, "Oh, she's doing the most, she's doing this." But I take pride in how I look, and what I'm bringing in. So the things that I lost and the things that I thought that I lost that meant a lot of value to me. I had to leave all that aside, and God did a work on me and a work in progress, and He is elevating me to a place of renown. He's giving me all of that back and some. I never would have gotten to this point had I stayed in Egypt, had I stayed in Egypt and not take the L. Sometimes you really, you really have to lose to win again. And if this is coming to you um and you're going through it, well, I'll say this, if you're looking at this, I'm not a big person who's like, oh, I'm prophesying to you and this and that. I'm not saying that. I just know who and what God is and how He has worked in my life and how His word never lies. And if you stay on Him and you stay focused on Him and you submit to Him, He will give you the desires of your heart. He will show you some things that you didn't even know that you actually wanted. He'll show some things in you that you need to correct it. And if you stay with Him, even when you mess up and get back and repent, He will help you. He will help you. And you will start seeing it for yourself. You don't have to look at me. You don't have to just take my word for it. You could try it out for yourself. And this is one of the things that I've learned. Sometimes you have to lose. Sometimes you can't tell everyone what your blessings is. What your blessings are, what God is doing for you. Even though it sounds tempting, it sounds really good, and you shouldn't be ashamed of what God is blessing you with. No, you're not ashamed, but you got to be smart too. So and when you go through something and someone has hurt you and you go through a process and you see where you've been very open and you've been very attentive and sharing and you getting attacked, you understand that there are wolves in sheep's clothing. You see that there are ravenous wolves. You see that there are snakes, and you have to guard your heart and guard what God has given you, so you won't be attacked. So you won't be, and it gives you a level of diligence and care to understand that you might have to take that loss of not sharing, not having someone to share physically for a minute what God is doing for you or what you're about to do, and hold off for a minute. You're going to have a time where you're going to be able to share, but God wants it to where when you share it, it's already there and no one else can touch what He's doing, so that your enemies can really be a footstool and not be right there, little instigators trying to get into the mix. So, yeah, when this resonates with you, definitely just use it. You don't even have to like my page. You don't have to do any of that. I would like for you to like it, but if you don't feel like it, that's fine. If it does resonate with you and you feel comfortable and confident to say, hey, this person is speaking truth. I tried it for myself and it worked. Then definitely, like it, share it. And on that note, I'm going to get off of here. Hopefully something I said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem. And thank you so much. Oh, yeah, my mom is also doing very, 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 very well. And thank you guys so much for everything.